Hi, and welcome back. My name is Ash, and this is week 20 on my current medication, Zepbound. Not much to really talk about, but before we do, obviously, I need a drink. Good. I've already tried that flavor. I probably give it a 4 out of 5. Waterloo never disappoints. Getting into how the week went and how things went and kind of how I'm feeling. This week was just okay. I'm kind of getting back into the routine. I got in another day of strength training, so I'm up to 3 per week right now, along with kind of just like basic walking, doing more activities. But this next week, my goal is to get in more intentional workouts in between the strength training. That's my goal. So that way I ultimately get up to 5 days of working out. But like I said, I just got back in the previous video, and really that week was just about kind of getting back into a routine, and the days didn't matter. The fact that I did it consistently mattered, and I did. So now it's just like adding on another day, and this week we'll add on another day of activity and kind of see how that goes. I feel like getting back into my strength training workouts, I feel very strong and capable. I did kind of ache a little bit. I hadn't worked out with that intention in a while. Like I said in the previous video, I did like active things. I was active, but I didn't work out to the point of trying to challenge myself. And the difference, I would say, definitely between just doing active activities outside and strength training is like when I'm doing activities outside, I'm doing that for fun and just to kind of get in movement. But this is very intentional and it's meant to kind of push myself just a little bit. And so I do ache more afterwards, you know? So I did notice that, but that's just getting back into the swing. Once I do it more regularly, I already know that I'm not gonna ache like that. It's not gonna be that intense. It just is like that now because I hadn't done it in a couple of weeks. It just kind of like reminded me of how strong and how capable I actually am. And sometimes I forget that. I forget to remind myself of the progress I've made, even before kind of starting this medicine, but just my progress overall in my health and my fitness in general. And a good example of this is my heart rate, my resting heart rate is actually pretty low. And usually low resting heart rates sometimes are a cause for concern, but I've already been to doctors and had cardiologists kind of look at my stuff and they've said it's fine. But they usually see low heart rates like that in people who are more active and people who are athletic. So I know I don't have necessarily the body of an athlete, whatever that means, we'll say from a mainstream view, but I'm very strong and I'm very capable. And like I have those little reminders to tell me, like, yeah, you are very strong and you do work out and you are somewhat athletic. Obviously, I'm not going to try out for any teams anytime soon. I'm definitely not doing that, but I just forget. And it's good to remind myself of that. The other thing that I've noticed is an uptick in like my general confidence in myself. And I don't know exactly what happened this week exactly, but I don't know. There was just a mindset shift that I had where I just felt just into myself a little bit. Maybe it was just like the way I noticed things felt, but also the way that I noticed kind of how my patterns work, like in my brain, of how I handle things, how I kind of move about things. I just didn't feel a lot of sense of doubt and uncertainty, and I just didn't feel that. I felt very secure this past week. And I don't know if that has anything to do with medicine, but you know what? It's got something to do overall kind of with myself and the way that I've taken care of myself. So I'm going to count and I'm going to put in this video. I think that matters. I think that counts kind of mentally too. This past week, I've also gotten compliments on like the way that I look. So more people are noticing. That kind of goes back to like the way I feel about myself, like actually taking in the compliment instead of just hearing it and having it kind of roll off back to the trophy case where all my fun trophies are. Not that I'm saying that it matters how other people react to the way that I look, but it's okay to take in a compliment. It's okay to feel that and say, you know what, I do look good, but I also feel good. And people, they don't see that visual feel, visual feel. People can't see how I internally have changed. They only see the physical change, like people are saying, oh, you look good, but they don't know that I'm off my blood pressure medicine now. And then I'm at a state where I can be off and I just focus on what I'm doing to keep my blood pressure in check. That stuff I've noticed that kind of mindset shift, and I think it's helped me a lot. And I don't know, it just is different. It was a marked difference that I noticed. I don't know exactly what happened or what clicked and what, you know what I mean, like what made that shift, but I just noticed it, and I'm grateful for it this week. Talking about blood pressure, I've checked my blood pressure a couple of times this past week, and everything's been good. Still not. I mean, obviously, I don't want it to be super low, but it's still like some days are good, some days are meh, you know. But still not cause for concern. And I am noticing as I'm doing more strength training in the week that it is getting lower. So that definitely is making a difference. Whether I wasn't sure, but I was kind of certain. So those things are making a difference. So that's just a reminder to me to make that a priority. Food has been okay. I've gotten back into my routine of eating like my 3 a day, my meals, you know, fiber and protein, and getting in vegetables and fruits and all that good jazz. But you know, the thing I tried a different place. I just didn't feel good, which is fine to try new things, but I don't know if that meant I ate too much of the new thing or if the new thing was so far outside of my regular eating that it just caused a lot of stomach upset. The thing that I hear people talk about on this medicine, and this is interesting because it doesn't affect everybody, is like fried foods affect you. And the thing is that some people can eat fried foods on this medicine and some people can't. And I'm learning I eat like adjusted versions of fried foods. Like instead of fully deeply fried, I mean like lightly breaded things and like an adjustment, a tweak to what a fried food is. But if I'm going out to a restaurant, they're not going to make those tweaks. They're just going to fry it and you're going to eat it and it's going to be the way that it is. I misjudged how deep the effect would have been and it did not, I did not feel good. Luckily I didn't have any things coming out or out of any place. I just had a lot of stomach discomfort and just kind of general lethargicness. And I hadn't had that feeling in a while. And it just kind of reminded me of how much food like affects that. And I think if you get into the swing of eating foods like that for a long time, you just don't know because that's like your that's like your normal. That's like your normal range of how you feel. And once you stop eating it and then you eat it again, then it's like a marked change. Like obviously I have days, even when I'm eating the cleanest that I can where I don't feel good, but eating that and noticing the shift in like how I felt, there was a big difference. The downside is that I do have leftovers, which I could eat or I could not eat, or I could eat a little bit of it and sub, you know, with more fresher items. And like I said, it's just my choice to make. But it's just something that I noticed. And it's really interesting that it's week 20 and I'm noticing this, which we talked about how like dairy and cheese kind of affected me, which I kind of already knew, and how this medicine kind of exacerbates that and makes it worse. So where you really feel the difference. But just the fried foods thing, which is interesting because I just don't I hadn't eaten fried foods like that in a long time just because of like my blood pressure and stuff. I had to kind of tweak the way I was consuming fried foods in general, period. But I just went out and I was like, I want to try a new place. And I'll try this place. And it just, I felt it. It was like a marked difference in how my stomach felt. So that's something that was interesting. I mean, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't say like, oh, you can't eat fried foods ever again. It's just a reminder to me about how things make you feel and what kind of things you put into your body and how it makes you feel. It doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just like a reaction that you're going to have. And like maybe this ain't the thing you rocking with all the time. Maybe you do it sometimes and you do it all the time. This was a sometime. So I didn't feel bad about consuming it. I just feel, oh, like this did not go well with me. This did not sit well with me. We're not going to do a weigh-in this week. We'll do that next week. If I remember, I'll put measurements up on the screen right here so you can kind of see where my current body measurements are. And that's all. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day. I hope things go all right with you. And I will see you next week. Bye.